All right. Thursday morning, gonna be a fast week. We're looking at September 9th. Tomorrow is options expiration. And where we at price wise right now on CLOV? Pretty flat, right around 948-ish. Closed at 948 and 45. Got a little bit of action. We'll get over that in a second, but let's say hi to everybody. We got Lisa, Michael, TN making it rain. Good morning. Let's see here. Holiday option. Sir Lucky Charms, Josh Stewart, Grimzo, 6'8 Spindrift. Thank you guys for coming in here early. I know it's like I said, it's early. It's 5 a.m. over here. So TN making it rain had a question. Is the option chain going to 22 now? I can only see 17. Yeah. So it yesterday they extended it. It took a while. Like my TD Ameritrade didn't show up until the market opened. I know other ones were showing up, before the market opened yesterday, but yesterday it did get extended to 22, and it probably depends on your broker too. Some brokers won't do it, but usually most of the time they'll push it out the same day. So we closed at I think 11ish around there. They'll double the chain to get it to be 50-50. But we did see that happen. I know my Schwab was showing up before market opened yesterday. TD Ameritrade wasn't. I forget who the other ones were. Who else do we got in here? Wabistics, Wes Hansen, DeGen's in the house. JJ, what's up? All right. So while everybody else is getting in here, I'm going to go over some other stocks. DraftKings moving again in pre-market. More volume in pre-market than we normally see there. It used to be pretty dead during after hours in pre-market, but we're leading up to football season. Today is the kickoff of the NFL season, and that's when DraftKings makes its bank. This morning we saw more news for DraftKings. Looks like they launched online sports betting in Arizona. Add that to the slew of other states that they added in this year. I still think this is a good buy. I think that, all-time highs were in the 70s, around 74-ish. This time around, we're probably primed to hit triple digits. So that's that's something I'll be watching with DraftKings. I did not listen to the GME earnings call. I just saw the Jen asked that. From what I read and what I looked at, it was kind of like not very impressive. They didn't give any guidance for the future, which is what they did the last two earnings calls. Kind of disappointing, but I know they've said from the beginning that they were gonna, I guess impress with actions, not with words. But it sure is hell taking them. It's taken them a while now. I mean, going into their third earnings call and still nothing in terms of what their actual plans are, as they pivot, and the stock reacted accordingly. Although it has been heavily shorted after every earnings call anyways. GME finished the day at 198 yesterday, and it's down to 183 today. So down about $15. I would expect a bounce back, but who knows? With GameStop right now, I just, I was also expecting somewhat of a run up before this earnings call, and we didn't get it. So, I'm not sure what's going on there. Blah blah's in the house. What's up? Says let's go. Speaking of blah blah, and I might as well take the time to do this now early. So blah blah. One of the mods of the CLOV subreddit. There's a link down in the description for that. I also added in a link down in the description to BTFD. He does a Twitter Spaces every day after market close, and I put a link to his Twitter. Really interesting stuff. There was a lot of people in there last night. It's right at, I think about a half hour after market closes when he sets that up. There's also a link down in the description for Ghost. Me and Ghost have been doing the No Financial Limit show. We're gonna kick off season 1 on Monday. And as always, there's a link down there for Tarheel Blue. He's been streaming every day in Power Hour. So um, go check all those links out. But the two big ones that I put in there, I know my description of my video is nothing but links right now. But let's see. So the other one I put down there was the Discord link, and then also that survivor pool. So the survivor pool, for any of you guys who didn't, get the announcement yesterday, it's just a free, fun thing we're gonna do for the NFL season on this stream and on the No Financial Limit stream, and just kind of track. It's free for anyone to join. Winner and runner up will get some merchandise from the online store when I get that launched. I guarantee you it'll be launched before the NFL season's over. So, and blah blah says THB and Al are streaming the conference today. So Al trades as well. Another guy you gotta check out. I don't have his link down in the description. I don't know if somebody else has it. Drop it in the chat, or I'll try to find it here in a second. I didn't. That's one that I forgot to put in there. But lot of stuff down there to click on, and like I said, the Discord's down there now, and also that NFL Survivor pool. If you want to play it, make sure you get in before Sunday's kickoff. If you don't log in today, that just means you can't pick today's game. But you got to pick a winner every week. Let's see here. Turts McGurts is in the house. Kyron Hodges, what's up? Says this is a wild ride. Absolutely. I was fully expecting us to continue that green yesterday, and we didn't. And we'll get into all that stuff in a second here. But I have a feeling that that today should be green. We should see a bounce back. One thing that I talked about yesterday was the option chain, and how if we lost 1050, we were going to see the opposite of a gamma ramp, right? Where we would see an unwind in the chain. And I think that's where we saw a lot of that volume pick up. So we lost 1050 right at the open. And where are we at? We opened below 1050. And so now we started seeing an unwind here of basically unhedging, right? As soon as you lose 1050 and the delta starts going down, Delta's all the way down to 0.38. I think it was at about 6.5 yesterday. So that's 300,000 shares that could get unwound there. And then when that drops you below 10, you could start unwinding here. And that's, these numbers are different than yesterday, and we'll go over them in a second. But we started to see the opposite effect of a gamma squeezed, along with some shorting and, market manipulation and all that kind of stuff as well. But we definitely saw the opposite effect of a gamma squeeze going on early on in the day too, until we kind of bottomed out and based out at like 950. Let's see here. Holiday option, Pete. Good morning. 7-leaf clover. At least we got the link there for the to join for membership. Absolutely. If you want to support the channel. I did open up a membership thing about 2 weeks ago. A lot of people came in. I'm really, really appreciative. Thank you for the support. And I'm going to continue to keep trying to come up with little features and fun things to add on to make it worth your while too, and give back. And thank you for supporting the channel. Why do you have accounts at 2 different places? I hear a lot of people say they have a couple different accounts. Why? Oh, I was trying to think what you were talking about, JJ, but I figured it out, the Schwab and TD Ameritrade. So I've always had, 2 different, like on my TD Ameritrade, I've always had multiple accounts within the TD Ameritrade. So I have like a trading account. I have an investment one, which I never really talk about. I just buy and hold long term, like 5 to 10 year holds in there. Then I also have 2 accounts set up for both of my kids, one for each kid that I invest in. So I've always had multiple accounts, but then this was, I don't even remember how long ago. I had heard that TD Ameritrade was getting bought out by Schwab, which they did. And so that kind of prompted me to, like, you know what, let me go check out Schwab now before they transition over. And they still haven't transitioned over. I think the last time I talked to Schwab's customer service, they had said by the end of the year they were going to integrate the two. But I've been using Schwab for over a year now, and I like to try out different stuff. I mean, at one point, I also had a Webull account earlier this year just to try that out when I first started streaming, but I canceled it. That was going to be just for the charting purposes. So, anyways, now I like some stuff about Schwab. I like some stuff about TD Ameritrade. I love TD Ameritrade for day trading. But I really like the options format and the way they have it all set up on Schwab. So I've actually been doing most of my options trading through my Schwab account. And once they transfer everything over, I'll probably just do something different with my TD Ameritrade account. Maybe make it a second investing account or something like that. Get into dividend plays or just do something different in there. Brian, what's up? Haven't seen you in a while. Good morning. Says I have 2,500 in CLOV with an average of 940. That's a great price. I mean, you're in the money right now. Hey West, what's up? Cuckoo Bird. I hope you got my message on Discord. I just saw it right before I hopped on and sent you a DM real quick. Let's see here. Chiron says Cash App is great for newbies. I didn't know Cash App did stocks. That's pretty cool though. I didn't realize that. Let me back this back up. All right, there we go. All right, so let's get into just some of the stuff. Some of the stuff we saw yesterday. Vortex right now. I mean, after that big hit yesterday, we can kind of see utilization picked up a little bit. I want to say this number was at 70 yesterday. Not a big change in cost to borrow through Vortex. Remember, Vortex reports from certain brokers. And then we'll look at Fintel in a second. But not a lot going on here on Vortex. Nothing really different. Even if we look at today, cost to borrow's up to 2%. 1,000 shares returned, 600 borrowed, net difference of 467. Nothing going on there. Chart exchange. Couple things I noticed yesterday. One, this number was in the 60s. I want to say it was at like 67% when we started the stream yesterday, and that's data from September 7th. And then when I looked today, it dropped to 56. We have seen these numbers change though. Maybe they're adding in more information as they get it, is all I can assume. But dark pool volume is increasing now. Friday was 50 million or 50%. Tuesday was 56, and yesterday we're seeing 57. Turn around and look at short volume. Huge jump yesterday. It was 37 on Tuesday's run up. Yesterday, 50%. As you can imagine, we saw the price getting suppressed a little bit there. We are on SSR today. That's a short sale restriction. And I know we've talked about this before, but for anyone who's joining us, who's new to the concept or whatever, basically whenever a stock goes down 10% intraday, they put it on short sale restriction for that day, which was yesterday, and then for the following day, which is today. And what that doesn't mean that people can't short. It just means that they can't short downwards. Okay, so they can't short into the bid. So if I'm a short seller today, legally what I could do is borrow, let's say I borrow some shares, 50,000 shares. I can't sell them into the market to help drive the price down, but I can put up sell walls with them. I can establish a new short position through the ask by putting in limit orders and making buyers buy through that. So we could still see some shorting today, but it shouldn't drive the price down. I say shouldn't because, we're dealing with people who obviously we're manipulating stock prices, and they're able to kind of move the prices at will. And we've seen this happen for months now. So, we've also seen some other SSR days and kind of them turn out to be duds where we get excited about them. And I covered some of that in that market manipulation Chalk Talk series that I put out, I think about 3 weeks ago. And essentially, if you can get your hands on real shares and sell them into the market, then you're still allowed to sell downwards on a SSR day. You just can't do it through shorting, right? Through borrowed shares. But let's say you exercise some deep in the money options, which means you're willing to pay a premium. And I'll give you an example of that. Right now, CLOV's trading at 945, or what are we at? 954. But these prices are based off 945, so we'll just say 945. If I go into this week and buy the $4 strike for a premium of 555, I'm basically getting my hands on shares, and exercise immediately. I'm basically getting my hands on shares for 955 for 10 cents difference. So I'm paying a 10-cent premium to get those shares. Now that I have those shares in my possession, I could sell them into the market, and drive the price down. And I assume that's what they do on these SSR days, to get that downward price action. So it's just a loophole, a way to kind of get around it. Milan, what's up? Good morning. Okay, so Chiron saying Cash App is somewhere you could trade stocks. Tim, what's up? Zip Jester, what's going on? Okay, I just saw the gen. SSR means they can only make walls for bulls to bust through. Yep, absolutely. Yes, and today is the Wells Fargo conference that Clover Health is presenting at, which should be, potentially pretty excited too. Maybe serve as a little mini catalyst if they drop some sort of news or anything like that. Now, nothing really big on the institutional side yesterday, but if we look at Vortex data, not Vortex, Fintel now, which I think is coming through Interactive Brokers, we're seeing 650,000 shares is where we closed at yesterday available. Now there's 1.6 million. If we look at cost to borrow, this was kind of the big news yesterday, and I'll refresh my page just to make sure. All of a sudden yesterday we jumped from 1% borrow fee rate to 107%. This is only through Interactive Brokers. Typically you'll see others start to follow suit. So if we look over here throughout the day today, I would imagine that the max number would go up, and then the average would go up. We'll start seeing some differentials in numbers here. But that means if anyone who's borrowing shares through Interactive Brokers is now paying a significantly higher fee to borrow the stock, through the shares that they're lending. And that can start to force people out. But at the same time, it could force other lenders to come in and say, shit, I want to get 107 borrow fee rate. So they'll start lending out shares. So these could be shares that were returned today. Okay, this 1.6 million, or this could be new shareholders who are saying, you know what, I'm willing to lend my shares out right now for 100%. So kind of hard to know what's going on there. In terms of option flow yesterday, this is TRADYTICS we're looking at right now. Again, a bunch of bullish buying. All these green dots represent buys. Looks like only one big order came in on puts, and that was at the $10 strike for October. But everything else was all bullish on the call side. You could see here, all the different strike prices and expiration dates. No unusually large orders though. Unusual contracts is when the volume exceeds the open interest. We didn't see anything like that. But we still have, this increase in gamma exposure, and we're just looking at lower strikes now. Yesterday, I think it was the 10 over here, and we were going all the way up even higher to the 15. So, but we've seen we can get up there pretty damn quick. In terms of social sentiment on the day, while we're looking at everything, it does look like CLOV is still kind of leading the pack in daily chatter and also on the week in chatter, which I don't expect to change just because, you know, we already got a big lead. But daily, that means this is still being talked about. We could still potentially see some new buyers stepping into the market. Max Payne is still at 9. That's an increase from 850 a couple of days ago, but it was 9 yesterday as well. Let's see here. Big Nate's in the house. Soft Bunnies, what's up? Quincy, good morning. Shrimply. The borrow rate affects the current short shareholders. Yes. So if you borrow, let's say you borrow shares today and it's 1%, and then tomorrow it goes up to 100%, you're paying 100% tomorrow. And then if you continue to hold it, you'll continue to pay 100% until it changes again. And if it changes to 50%, you're paying 50. Like it fluctuates, and you would just get notified of what your borrow rate change is, and that may affect your you holding a short position. But the other thing that happens too, right, is some of these short sellers will get into a stock and they're day trading it, right? So they don't pay any borrow fee essentially. I mean, if you're holding it for less than a day, it doesn't even mean much, right? So if you came in and shorted the stock at 1050 yesterday and cashed out at 950, that 100% borrow fee didn't even affect you. But it absolutely affects the shorts that have been holding long term. I mean, we've seen just through Vortex over 43 million shares being sold short in days where we don't even have that much volume. So we know that there's people long term holding this as a short position, and it's absolutely affecting them. Dennis D, what's up? Good morning. What reality did I wake up in today? What's the cost to borrow? We just went over it, but yeah, the cost to borrow is 100% right now. I should say this though, through Interactive Brokers. Okay, that's one lender. Okay, there's plenty of other lenders out there. Unfortunately, we don't even know we don't have data on all of them, but the other ones that Vortex reports from aren't anywhere near that. So a lot different. I read that GME said in their 10Q yesterday that short shares exceed what is available on the open market. You know what? I'll have to look into that because I know in the past they've alluded, similar to what CLOV did, actually before CLOV had did it, I think about 3 months ago, but they had Gamestop was about 6 months ago. They put some warnings in their in some of their filings that get to short sellers like, hey, this stock is highly shorted, all that. But if they actually said that yesterday, that the short shares exceed what's available on the open market, that is bullish. I haven't read that. I yesterday I got done with school. I hopped on Twitter Spaces for a little bit. I ran home real quick to change, ran back to football practice, got back from football practice, made the kids dinner. I watched the second half of a Harry Potter movie with them and then went to sleep. I haven't watched TV in a long time either. But I like didn't read nothing, didn't, except for a couple messages people sent me and little things like that. But yeah, I did not give the GameStop earnings call the attention it deserved, especially considering my position in it. But I just figured we'll see what happens with the price action. But I'll definitely do some research on that today. and see what's going on. Present Minds, good morning. Oh yeah, thank you, Pete. I knew I missed something. There's so much going on with the stock right now. I figured there was to be something I'm left out. So the squeeze score. So if we go to let's see here. Let me go back to Fintel. Fintel screens, short squeeze. There we go. CLOV is now number 7. With a short squeeze score of 94.95. So I want to say this was down in the 70s or something like that a while back. BBIG number 1 on there. SPRT, that's another name we've been looking at. BBIG is one that I still have a position in. Had a huge day yesterday. And Zev is one that I am actually going to write down because I've been reading about Zev for a while. I'm gonna do some more research there, but yeah, CLOV is moving up there too. I know. I think Vortex also tweeted something out about CLOV's short squeeze potential yesterday too, and that's all good because there's people that look at these lists and then find the information there and use that to start doing their research on what stock to enter into next. And the other one I just noticed too is ANY. I want to say that was talked about on DeGen's Twitter space the other day, I believe. And then there goes VIH. I've been adding on to my position there. I think that one's coming pretty soon. I think that one's gonna end up popping at some point. It's definitely been getting some movement and some increase in volume recently. So yeah, I mean, I think being added to that list or moving up the list, I should say, it's always been on the list. It was just a little bit lower. I think the cost to borrow has a lot to do with that. I mean, I know they have some sort of algorithm or formula that they use to get those up, and I think cost to borrow is definitely plays a big role in that. But then you got to think about, and I'll bring this over one more time. You got to think about the list and what they're basing it off, right? So high borrow fee rate along with, an increase in short interest all of a sudden and all that kind of stuff. But if they're basing it off this borrow fee, and that's why they're saying it's going to be a squeeze, that's all good for the people that are borrowing shares from Interactive Brokers. But as we saw, until Vortex's numbers start reflecting that too, it's not really killing short sellers across the entire market. Like, I don't know how many shares Interactive Brokers is lending out, but even if we say 10 million, right? That's still only about a quarter, of what's actually out there. So we want to see all the other lender brokers start raising that fee as well. Great point. DeGen says they also pay that borrow fees on Saturday and Sunday. So they're paying that 365 days a year, not just when the market's open. Oh, he said cost to borrow is the new DTC joke. Okay. I didn't catch that one. Lisa said page 31. So I'm going to look that up on the 10Q for GME when I sign off. And I haven't made a GameStop video in a while too. So maybe if there's something there, maybe I'll put out a little quick update on that. Harry Potter. Yeah, I've never seen any of the Harry Potters until recently. So, it just and I've always wanted to watch them, but then like I wanted to sit down and watch them with the kids, and like we sat down to watch it 2 years ago. They got bored and ran outside, and it's like, whatever. So I turned it off, even though I was kind of into it. But then last week they asked, they're like, hey, we want to watch Harry Potter, so we watched part 1. It was pretty cool, and then yesterday we watched part 2. So when I got done doing stuff around the house, I went and chilled with them for a little bit. ANY is a crypto mining play out of Canada. They pop hard and did an offering to buy 60,000 rigs. Think it will be a Riot Mara type play with Bitcoin going forward. Man, if that's the case, I mean, Riot and Mara, they hit some extreme highs back in, I think, January or something. So I'm definitely I'm gonna keep an eye. I got to start looking into once we pop here with CLOV, which I think is still coming right around the corner, where I want to move some of those profits into. So let's see. Florida Knicks in the house. Oh, new member, right on. Wabistics, thank you for joining the channel. I appreciate it. Welcome to the team. Like I said, I'll keep getting getting some new features and benefits and stuff for channel members. But I appreciate the support. Thank you so much. And again, if anyone else wants to join, it's I think it's like $5 a month. It helps support the channel. Besides the badges and the little cool emojis and everything, I am working on some designs and going to put up a merchandise store here, and members are going to get a nice chunky discount off any merchandise they may want. But the big thing that I'm going to try to do, I'm just trying to get settled in here with work and football season and everything else. But I'm going to try to start doing a stream in the evenings to really go through and try to answer questions and any sort of trading questions, whether it be options or technicals or even just trading psychology, and just something that we're like members of the channel, kind of like a members only type stream, with more of like a Chalk Talks feel. If you've watched any of my Chalk Talk videos and but where I can like actually answer real life questions about, maybe specific trades that you guys are in and stuff like that. So that's something I'm looking forward to. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and I'm hoping that maybe we could start that next week. Let's see. All right. Sorry, just wanted to check my phone real quick. So CLOV starting to move up. If we zoom out a little bit here, we did see a little bit of a pop. This is 1 a.m. and we jumped from 944 up to 965. Right off the open right there, and then kind of got hammered down a little bit, or came back down a little bit to 944 again. And now we're ready to kind of push back up to 960, but we're kind of trading in this channel. Volume right now is around 400,000. Not as much as yesterday, but still higher than previous days. So we're still going to see I think an increase in volume. Yesterday we saw a ton of volume before the market opened, and we saw a ton of volume as the in the early hours, and then it kind of dropped off. So while pre-market volume can be indicative of what we're going to see, it isn't always. Like, right now we're still seeing a lot of volume, but we could see this thing start ripping and just absolutely surpass yesterday's numbers and even Tuesday's numbers. Just got to see how it plays out. But I really think today might be green. It seems like they pulled out all the stops yesterday, kind of got us down to this 950 level. Seems like we're kind of holding it as support now. And pulling up the options chain, we didn't really look at that yet today. We still have a decent base at 9 and 950, where we're still in the money. It doesn't start to get lopsided until the 850 strike. So having 9 and 950 in the money is great, but we really like to get back to 10 and 1050 being in there too. And that's where things can start getting exciting with the delta hedging. We're closer now to Friday, so passing these numbers, these delta is going to start rising more rapidly. And we did start to see an increase in here. Yesterday we didn't have double digits in the thousands at the 13 strike. 15's always been hot. Now we got 16 and 17. These are all new numbers that got added yesterday, and starting to build up. If we come out here to the 17th, same thing. We're starting to see more concentration in here, and that's where we want to be at. November's the other big chain. But I'm not going to go through all the rest in here, but there's definitely potential in here today and tomorrow for a nice little gamma ramp if we can get the upward price action again. Florida Nick says level 2 doesn't look bad. Yeah, I don't see a lot in there right now. In terms of sell walls or anything. 10 seems like that's 20,000 shares right there. But I'm sure that'll change too as we start to, one, as the market opens, two, if we start moving upwards, we'll start seeing some come in there. But that high cost to borrow fee may prevent people from jumping in front of this. Naked Short report shows 16 million short volume yesterday. Most of it was at 10. So at least 150 million was spent to suppress the move up and rug pull Wall Street bet call buyers. Okay. So you're talking about, let's go back. We'll just look at that candle because, yeah, there was a ton of volume right off the open. If you look here, this candle right here is, I minimized my, let me see here. How do I get that up? I'll just do it over here. I minimized this box yesterday, like smaller on my screen so that I could have other screens up. And now the little volume tab doesn't show up. Like I can't actually read that number. That's gonna drive me crazy today. I'm gonna have to fix that before we get going. But it looks like, yeah, that's gonna piss me off. Let me expand this a little bit. At least just while we look at this. There we go. We saw 7.5 million in volume. See, I'm reading it off this little box here. 7.5 million in volume just in that first 5 minutes on the day, and then 4.2. This is all in this big drop, and if we look on a minute, this is the drop he's referring to. Again, 2 million, and this is by the minute. Another 2 million, and then just all the way down until we got down to $9.20. So let me push this back in. Let's see. Robinhood unlocked my account after 90 days, so decided to go full margin. Okay. Z for Bleak, what's up? Good morning. Florida Nick says Fintel has BBIG number 1 with 97%, and if we're still 7th, we're 94%. Yeah, we just pulled that up. We definitely CLOV got moved up to I think number 7 on the Fintel short list. So that could invite in some new buyers as well. We're also number 1. TRADYTICS is reporting us as number 1 right now. Chatter on social sentiment. So I haven't looked at like Ape Wisdom or none of the other ones, but I mean I already have the TRADYTICS thing. I figure that's good enough. Just go track it there. Faith's in the house. What's up? Good morning. Do I need to lift this up? Oh no, there we go. All right. We got it. I have an extra monitor in my classroom that I just have my stocks constantly on, just so I can, I'm not sitting there trading and stuff, but while I'm teaching, when I go back to my desk to do something on my computer, I can always glance over and see. I have to. I mean, otherwise, especially when with these volatile stocks, man, you gotta at least be watching. Obviously, like I said, you could set alerts, but one time I had an alert go off, and then it's like I wanted to go over and sell, and I hate doing it on my cell phone, so I had to like rush over to the computer, log in, do everything else. So now I just keep it logged in, and that way, if an alert does go off, I could run over and do something. GameStop still getting hammered lower. If we look, I wonder if AMC, yeah, it looks like AMC's kind of tracking with it too. AMC closed yesterday at 47.40, currently trading at 45.88. GME, we talked about, closed at 198 yesterday, but now it's trading below 180. So not looking too hot right now. CLOV is starting to climb. It seems like we've been climbing now since 4:50 a.m. here on the West Coast. Broke through VWAP. It's at 960 currently. Hopefully we keep this going, into the open. Just looking around at some other stocks. VIH we have up here right now. We could zoom out and take a look there. It's been hitting $12 in pre-market, or at least it did if we go back and look. So this is today's after hours. This would be leading into Wednesday. This would be leading into Tuesday. So this is Friday and Tuesday morning, and this is going back to Thursday. We're seeing these spikes, up to 1250, and then it's kind of been getting shorted back down. We looked at the Vortex data on VIH yesterday, and I'll pull it up one more time just to you guys could see what I'm talking about. But short interest 42%, and that's what's being reported right now. Cost to borrows up to 8. And also a 9% short interest change right now as of this morning. This is a very, very small float, 15 million in the float. So this puts, plus this 9%, puts right now their short interest at 51%. Okay. Utilization's high. We're, I really think this thing has the potential to explode at any minute. If we pull up the options chain on there, again, just because the leverage and firepower that it can provide, already at, trading above 10, quite a bit in the money. But then as we go here, and if we're able to pass 11 and 1250 now again, these things have been getting loaded up. They added in new strikes. I think this has the potential to spring past 20 easily, and it's loaded up throughout the entire chain. And this is a very low float stock. I think if you went through and counted all that up, there's probably 4 times the amount of calls in the option chain right now than there actually are shares in existence, on that stock. So definitely has the potential to explode if things start moving in the right direction there with VIH. Jim Larson, what's up? Good morning. Papa Cloves in the house says, good morning, coach. Picked TB over my Cowboys tonight in your pick'em contest. Will definitely happily use my mulligan. Who did I pick? I don't even know if I made my pick now. I know when I set it up, because I set this up last week when we were talking about it, and I never did it. I never actually went in and made the pick, I don't think. But I was eyeballing the Ravens over the Raiders. I really think that seems like the safest play to me, and that means the Raiders will probably pull out an upset. Maybe I'm too high on the Ravens this year. I don't know. Joseph says, pump for the pool. Question: You can pick day to day, right, or week to week. Should I say? Don't have to pick them all right now. No, yeah, just pick one. You just want to pick one for this week. And then after this week, you could pick another one. You can go in weekly and do it, I guess. Yeah, but you only pick one per week, and you'll be able to log in every week and do it. You don't got to do it in advance. But once you pick a team, they're dead, right? So, like Papa Clove picked Tampa Bay today. If Tampa Bay wins today, he could no longer pick Tampa Bay for the rest of the season. And anyone who has no idea what we're talking about, I did a little survivor pool. It's free. There's a link below in the description to this video if you want to check it out. We'll be kind of talking about it on the Discord. There's a link down there as well. But just something to kind of, do for fun. And then I'm going to throw some prizes out there for, anybody who's basically the winner and the runner up. Once we get to the end, I'll have some prizes I'll throw in there and stuff. Merchandise. It'll be merchandise from the store. Probably a credit. I think I said $200 for the winner and $100 for the runner up. So, should be fun though. Even if you're not in football, go on there and make some picks. I mean, you probably still do better than some of us that watch football every Sunday. Co-creators in the house. There aren't any bots in here, right? I think that Nightbot guy followed me home last night. Yeah, I noticed that yesterday. I went on Tarheel's stream and he had like a bot in there that was just constantly, but it wasn't like it was something that he put in there. But I meant to ask him about that and I didn't get a chance to. BTFD says football prediction: Arkansas will be down at halftime, but they will beat Texas with a strong fourth quarter. We got some Texas fans in here that'll probably disagree with you, man. But I can see that. I think it'll be a good game. I'm just hoping I get the opportunity to watch some football this week. Last week I was stuck. We had a birthday party for my niece. And then as soon as I was done there, I had to take off and go to my own football game. And I didn't get to watch anything. But I'm excited about this weekend. I really am. College football. I recorded a bunch of games too. I got some former players at Washington, USC, and Cal specifically that I recorded. We have some other players in other places, but those 3 games I recorded because I wanted to go back and just kind of check those guys out. And I still haven't even had the time to, but it's still sitting on my DVR. Good morning, Alexander. What are the latest numbers on Clover? So the most interesting number, I think the one that makes the biggest difference here, well, I guess there's a couple. Moved up to number 7 on Fintel's short squeeze score of 94, almost 95. It's 94.95. So pretty excited about that. Vortex was tweeting about it yesterday, saying that it has a lot of short squeeze potential. And then outside of that, we saw Fintel reporting a borrow fee rate of 107, but they're the only one. Vortex hasn't started, hasn't updated at all or increased. Any of their lenders have not increased that borrow fee that significantly yet. But those are the big numbers. That, and we saw a ton of short volume, 50% short volume yesterday, and I think 57% dark pool volume. While we're looking at Vortex, I know I showed you guys VIH. I'm going to just check out BBIG too to see where it's at. 32% short interest, but cost to borrow is up to 169. And this is huge, right? Because when you get to this, and this is more than likely why you see it at the top of the short squeeze score for Fintel, is when you start looking at this. Remember, Vortex reports from multiple vendors, multiple people who are lending out shares. So on the high end, 324, average of 277, minimum of 259. It is expensive as hell to short this stock right now. And utilization's at 99. You're likely going to see shorts starting to exit this stock because that is expensive as hell to hold on to a short position there. So that's where we would potentially want to see CLOV get to. But the other part of that too that we talked about this morning is when cost to borrow goes up, yeah, you're going to see some shorts trying to exit, but you're also going to see shareholders start reconsidering and saying, you know what, I'll lend my shares out for those borrow fees, and then now you have more ammo kind of going into the market for short sellers to borrow. So it works both ways. It's kind of a supply and demand thing, but my expectation is that you'll see people trying to leave BBIG, short sellers trying to leave BBIG with those type of borrow fees. VN's in the house. What's up? Joseph says, hit the like and subscribe and become a member of the TMB membership. Typical morning bullshit. Or the morning bell. Join the morning bell with us, TMB. Chef Daddy says VIH is a SPAC, right? What's the company that they're merging with? It's BA. It's backed, I think. BAKT, BA. Someone, we were talking about it the other day, but it has to do with I think crypto wallets or something along those lines. I'm just looking at pure options data and short squeeze data there, but the volume's starting to rise. But I think it's BAKT is the company that they're supposed to merge with, I believe. Malish, what's up? Hello, good morning. I have a question. What is your opinion on what caused the borrow fee to go up drastically for CLOV? Thanks in advance. So, again, it's only through interactive brokers, which makes it somewhat interesting, right? And it's usually based on supply and demand. And usually, even if we've seen interactive brokers get down to 0 shares availability and still only charge, 1%. To me, and this is just speculation, I don't think there's any way for us to truly know, but I would imagine something along the lines of, let's say interactive brokers has 10 million shares out there to short, right? And they're all being lent out. So all the borrowers have them, they're all paying 1%. Well, all of a sudden, some of the people who actually own those shares through interactive brokers, big shareholders, call them and say, "Hey, I don't want to lend my shares out anymore. I want those back." Well, now interactive brokers needs to get their hands on, let's say, a million shares, like 10% of the shares that they own. They need to get back from short sellers. Well, one way they can do that is by raising the cost to borrow. Now people are going to start returning those shares back to them. So that's my speculation, at least, is you probably had some people requesting those shares back. Also the volatility. I mean, it could be that with the volatility of CLOV recently and everything else, that their algorithms are basically saying this is going to be pretty volatile and a lot riskier to short this stock, and so they increase the fee. But for it to increase that much, I think it's more of a supply and demand thing. So that's what I'm looking at least. And why would you see shareholders wanting to get their hands back on their stocks and not have them lent out? I would say potentially if they were going to look to maybe capitalize on a squeeze play and be able to sell some stock, so they want those shares back in their possession. Let's see. Okay, there it is. It's BAKKT. Yes, I think you got it right. I was missing a K. Stock Hunter, hey coach, yesterday at 1532, looking at Webull chart, there was a crossover. 50-day moving average crossed over the 200. Just learned, but is that not a good thing? If the 50 crossed over the 200, yeah, that's absolutely good. So anytime you have a faster moving average crossing over above a slower moving average, that would be considered bullish. So there was a crossover, the 50-day moving average over the 200. Yeah, so that's bullish for sure. Louis, what's up? Can accept them hammering the price down yesterday, but what I don't get, how the volume pretty much stopped after that big drop. Yeah, well, I think a lot of the volume too was some of it was unwinding of the option chain. The algorithms dumping shares. Then you also had short sellers dumping shares. I think that there was a lot of hype coming in yesterday morning with new buyers. And once they drove the price down, you probably kind of killed off a little bit of that hype too. But now all it did was make it cheaper for new buyers that want to jump in. So see what happens. Rick says, what was the major indicator that was used to think about buying VIH calls about a month or so ago? So for me, that was purely based on the option chain. And so what we were looking at then was, again, the float size, how loaded up the option chain was. And this was for August, the August chain. And I mean, it was ridiculous, like more calls than what we see now. But VIH is also a SPAC, in pre-merger. So to me, I'm looking at it like, I think at the time it was trading at $9.90. And so when we kind of evaluated it on the channel, you were able to buy, I think, like October and November calls for like 10 cents a piece at the 1250 strike. So even if you look right now, those are up 15 cents. These are up, almost, what would that be? 60 cents. I think these ones were 15 cents. So they were up about 70 now. And that's all I was looking at was like, you figure at some point, once the merger goes through, the stock is going to go above 10, right? Usually any sort of SPAC leading up to the merger or anything is going to get its little push, because $10 is where it should be at pre-merger, right, for all SPACs. So I'm just thinking it's going to go up a little, but once it crosses 10, there's a huge amount of open interest there that should be able to push higher due to the options volume and open interest on the call side. And it's such a small float. That's what drew me to it. But instead of buying August calls, which would have expired worthless at the time, I was like, shit, this is so cheap and IV so low. Let's go out and buy February calls. Let's go out and buy November calls. Like, just go deeper out there, and you're getting them for so inexpensive. And now these things have shot up tremendously. So it's already been pretty profitable. But I'm just looking at the chain, and now with it having the high short squeeze interest and everything else, I think this thing could run to like 20 easily. I need to figure out the space thing. Is there a way to get alerts for it when you're doing it? I don't think you can. I know I'm behind. The Jim probably already answered this, but for anybody else who's just listening or whatever, I put a link to Degenerate's Twitter account down below. But if you follow him on Twitter, I think he does the spaces about a half hour after market close every day. It may be like right after market close, but I think he starts a half hour. But then when you log on Twitter, it's just right there at the top. You can click into it. You'll see like his logo and then like all the people that are in there, and you could listen along. It's pretty cool. One thing you could do is set up an alert, but I'll just caution you. If you put an alert on Degenerate's account, you're going to be getting tweets all day popping up on your phone. Good tweets, but your phone, days like yesterday, your phone will be going crazy. But no, if you just log in to Twitter, you'll see it up there. Scotty, what's up? Let's see. Hector's in the house. Andrew Dixie, what's up? Co-creator said he's got another doctor's appointment today. Things are getting slowly better. Right on. We'll be thinking about you, man. Hopefully you get healthier and those test results come back good. L Train, what's up? Godfather, Christina Ridge, Andy Smith. I'm just trying to catch up with all you guys, see who else came in here this morning. Oh, there we go. Christina, see the Jen. Christina's ready for you. Said Texas is ready for the SEC, and they're going to show you on Saturday. Let's see here. LF Bell says so many mechanics in here. You know what? I got to go back in there and add some more mods too. I got to figure out how to, but you got to, for some reason, I can't do it through the software that I'm in right now. You have to be like through the YouTube app to do it. Stina said, I'm just happy Coach doesn't have that bot. Yeah, I'm at work now during the day, so I can't watch like Trades or Tarheel. I guess I could say I can watch, but I can't listen. So sometimes I'll throw them on, and I can go on there and just check out and see, like kind of hop in the chat and have fun, but I can't hear anything. So that was the case yesterday, and I saw that bot going crazy. I didn't know what was going on there. Jason says, can you talk about how the future rollover date expiration works and how that could potentially affect price action today, if so? Essentially when you roll out a future, so the difference between a futures contract and an options contract is an options contract, you have the option to exercise. With the futures contract, you're exercising. Like you're going to buy the underlying. You have to. So if you don't want to buy the underlying, you can roll it out, right? And you could, or roll it over to another date, But now what you're doing essentially is you're closing out a position, which would be considered, buying and then pushing it out further. So that's why the theory is that we would see those spikes. Now it could be that we already saw the spikes, right? Like if we back this up, typically it happens leading up to those dates. And that very well could have been 9/7 where we saw it at, or even 8/24 or 9/2. Any of these green days could have been the date that it happened, and that's it. What I suspect happened, if the theory holds true, what happened last time is we saw that happen here, and it kicked us into a gamma squeeze, and that's why we ended up running up. Or it could be that because of the potential upward momentum that we had, anyone who was looking to roll over maybe was, essentially going to wait until today. But today would be the last day that you can roll out those futures. So anyone who's going to that hasn't done so already would do it today. Yeah, that was the other thing with VIH, with the gent saying right here. It's so close to NAV, right? I mean, it's right now it's trading at 10.48. So when you think about risk, you can only lose 48 cents. Like it's gonna be $10. You can go in there and buy these shares right now for 10.48. It's your risk is pretty defined there, and then it's got that squeeze potential. And that's kind of what I liked about it. Christina says, I'll be the one wearing the orange and a sea of red on Saturday. So Christina's going to the game. All right. Brian says, what do you think of TRADYTICS? I really like it. I'm really starting to play around with it, especially like on my breaks now at work, because I don't have access to so much other stuff. And because it's web-based, I've been going in there and looking. And the thing that I found the most intriguing about TRADYTICS is, let me see if I can pull this back up. Besides the live option flow, which I really like, they have this intraday bullseye, and I haven't went through and really like tracked it to see what the outcomes are, but this is from yesterday, so these are like alerts that are coming throughout the day. Like yesterday at 9:59, there was an alert on CLOV, and it's saying that the price action is bearish, but it's making a recommendation to buy calls. Okay, so they're saying buy the $12 strike for October 15th. Okay, so these are actual like intraday trade recommendations that they're making. BBIG, it said buy, the call. What is this? The $10 strike expiring this week. Yesterday. So probably when this, if we went and looked at the time, probably when it was dipping. but it gives you like intraday trade alerts. And then it's got a confidence level attached to it. So like it was very confident about this one. Buying calls for next week at what was it, the $10 strike. But I've been going through and kind of like looking at some of these and seeing, and then you could even, sort by confidence and look, and that's for intraday. Like ones that just kind of come up. Then they also have like this swing AI profit one. There's so many options in here that I've been kind of looking through, and I think it's a really cool software. I mean, I really think that there's so many tools there. I haven't been using it nearly as much as I could be, to kind of find plays and kind of utilize all the tools that it has in it, because I'm still learning it, and I haven't really given it the amount of time that I should be to really learn this stuff. But I'm working on it. I'm juggling so much other stuff right now. Looks like GameStop's starting to pop a little bit. We might see, I mean, obviously not financial advice or anything like that, but that's a pretty big gap down. I would imagine that, it'll probably at least get up and fill to 198 at some point, whether it's going higher or lower in the short term, or long term. I think we'll probably see some sort of gap fill up to 198 at some point today. All right, let's see here. Ghost is in the house. I know I'm way behind now. Uh, let's see. Genetic Nate, Charlie B, DJ Tardis. What's up? I'm just trying to catch up with you guys now. Julio Cruz, what's up? Michelle, thank you everybody for coming in here. Chef Daddy's talking about Zev. Yeah, I wrote that one down. I caught that on the Fintel short list. And Zev, I got some buddies in another group chat that are really big in Zev. Got a lot of information on it. And I was looking into it about 3 weeks ago, and I never entered the play, luckily, because I didn't have the dry powder at the time, and then it kind of took a little dip. And I think it might be in a good zone right now. So I'm gonna do some research on Zev today. That's another one that I've been eyeballing. You guys have got that college football talk going around right now. Claude says 2.8 million shares available to borrow. So let's see here. Assuming that's coming off Fintel or iBorrow desk. Yeah. Yeah, so we're seeing shares getting returned right now. Without the price action to back it up, we only have 500,000 in volume so far this morning, and that's a 1.2 million in increase in shares availability. But that's directly correlated to the borrow fee, right? I mean, the borrow fee's high, so a couple things could be happening there. One, people may have borrowed shares and not used them yet, and now they're returning them because the borrow fee's high. Two, you may see more shareholders willing to lend out their shares because of the high borrow fee, because they want to capitalize on that rate that they can get in return for lending their shares out. So, but yeah, there's definitely more firepower available. And again, that's only through Interactive Brokers. I mean, that doesn't even include any other brokers that are lending out shares. Vortex, if we take a look at it, not much going on at all. 18,000 returned to 264,000 borrowed. Not a big differential there. Cost to borrow hasn't moved at all, hasn't budged. Let's see. Tadeo, morning folks, big holder of CLOV, thinking about some call options for December. Your thoughts on a price, not a financial advice question. Yeah, December, I like it just because it's far enough out where it's giving you some time, right? Um, I have some Januaries, but December, if I was looking in there, um, it's just everything's more expensive now too because IV's been going up. I really like being more at the money. I really do. When I go like far out of the money, I usually do it for very short term lotto ticket type plays. So I like being more at the money, but a lot of times when I can't figure out exactly what I want to do, I try to get like as close to a 0.25 delta. And that's, somewhere in there. And I feel like that's where you're going to get your most bang for your buck and your most price action movement. So maybe somewhere around here. But then if you evaluate it, you're paying 90 cents for a $22 call. Why not pay 94 cents for a 20? And then um, I don't know. I would say maybe somewhere in here, like $14. I really think that for $1.50 a piece, you're if you look at just a cost analysis of that, you can get 6 of those for the same price that it would cost you to get 100 shares. And that's the price action that you're looking for, right? And then now that prices you in for a squeeze, it gives you 100 days right now for that price to move up. And if we do get, some sort of squeeze play or gamma squeeze or anything else, you're still going to make a killing off that in the dollar for dollar movement past 14. Um, and it's just cheap enough to where, like I said, you can get 6 of those instead of buying 100 shares. Um, and I would imagine that even if we just stair stepped up from here and slowly moved up, even just moving up to like back to the $12 to $13 range, you're going to be able to get a ton here off the IV. And even if it never reaches 14, and you could just cut it when it gets to like 12, those contracts will be worth a lot. So I would probably just quick off the top of my head, if I was going December, maybe target that $14 one, somewhere around there. Co-creator says members of the team get many benefits, badge, emojis, greater visibility, access to members only chat and videos, as well as discounts on merch. I was what they call a mini ranger at middle school. I was too involved in sports to judge. That's awesome. Chief Keef, what's up? Took the rest of the week off and can finally join the chat. What's good, Coach and Clover fam? Right on, Chief Keef. Thanks for joining us. Ekatab's in the house. I'm still trying to catch up with you guys. Ago's in here. Good morning. Um, let's see. Scores galore. Just looked at BBIG. Ouch. I heard people talking about it, about company when it was in the twos, but didn't end up purchasing any. Yeah, me too, man. There was somebody who's been commenting on my videos. Fran, I think is the name. And was, constantly saying like, Coach, check out SPRT, Coach, check out BBIG. And I get so busy sometimes that I just don't have time to really do my own due diligence. And so it's like, there'll always be other plays. There'll always be other plays. And sure enough, those plays pass me. But I still think BBIG has a lot of room to run. I do. Um, let's see. Says, what's VIH do? It's a SPAC and it's looking to merge with BAKKT. Um, but it has some ridiculous short interest and super low float. I think like 15 million float and a ton of options activity on it. So just one of those ones that has the potential to really pop here coming in. Ken Lim, what's up? Yes, for anyone new that's joining, SSR short sale restriction is in effect today, which essentially means that shorts can put up sell walls legally, but they cannot short downwards into the market. They cannot attack the bid. Jeffrey's asking any major walls up this morning. Let's see. I haven't seen any yet, but that could always change once the market opens. 22,000 here at $10. I mean, we've hammered through that easy numbers like that. The other day we were seeing some crazy ones, right? Like 150,000, stuff like that. There's nothing major yet, but we're still in pre-market, so nothing too exciting happening on that side on the level 2. Sir Lucky Charms in the house. With shorter term call option, what delta do you look for? Well, I mean, really, I never really played the short term ones except for like those lotto ticket style plays, right? So, like, if I was gonna buy options on Clove right now, I pulled up the wrong window. As a lotto ticket, one, I wouldn't go for this week. I mean, you only have a day left. It just seems like you're really wasting money. I mean, unless you really wanted to but still, I mean, at that point, I'm just going cheap and saying whatever. I'm just closing my eyes and hoping something happens. So, something out here for $4, $5, and just buy it. At that point, you're either going to hit a squeeze or you're not. But I wouldn't recommend that at all. If I was going to go shorter term, I would at least give myself until next week, but also come into this knowing that, you're likely just pissing money away. That's the way I look at it. So, but for if you look, I usually just do a cost analysis, right? I mean, if this is $14, let's say I have $100 to spend, do I want to buy 6 of these for $14? I can also get the 21 for 14. I'll come down here and maybe go, okay, for $20 I can get 5. And it's more like that. Like, okay, I'm gonna lay a bet down. How much money do I have, and how many do I want to get in return? Where if you went with the 15 here, you're looking at, you can get 7, 8, right? 30, 30, 36. No, you'd only be getting 6. So would you rather have 6 at the $20 strike or 5 at the $16 strike? Or 4 at the 14. But then you're kind of, but that's more like FD style play. Like I'm gonna throw in something, super cheap and just, see, if something big happens, I might be able to turn that $100 into thousands, but going into it with the mindset that it's probably not going to happen, and it's just a straight up high risk gamble. But on top of that, delta wise for short term, I mean, if you really wanted to go, I should say this too. There is short term plays where I'm actually like day trading, where you find a dip intraday. Like for instance, yesterday, if we came down here and you wanted to make a safer play and not go with this risky bullshit that I'm talking about right now, and you see RSI getting down, and we dropped down here and now we're trading at 914, and I'm positive we're going to bounce back off that. Now what I would do on a short-term scale to be a safe bet is, and you could even do this with 0 days to expiration sometimes, buy in the money, right? So like, if we're trading right now, let's say the dip is taking us down to 950, 945, because this is, you could buy this 950 strike for 40 cents at the money if you're catching a dip. Let's say yesterday you could have bought maybe the $9 call for 40 cents when it was down here. Now, as it starts growing up and it gets back to 10, 10.50, something like that, it's going to ramp up quick and all of a sudden be worth $1, $1.50, and you're able to 3 times your money on those buying in the money at dips. So if you're playing like a day trade strategy, I usually try to go right at the money or in the money to maximize right there. And it depends how much movement you think there's going to be, right? But that's a totally different strategy too, where you can actually get a lot of leverage. I mean, a lot of times I'll do that on expensive stocks like, um, a Tesla or something like that, that's already trading for $750. And if we look, especially on Fridays, so here we got the Tesla option chain, and even now at the money, it's going for 395. So you need it to move $4 before tomorrow. However, tomorrow morning, if you catch Tesla on a dip, you might be able to go in at the money and pay $1 for this. And now if Tesla moves $6 throughout the day, which is really nothing for Tesla, that's a 1% move. That $1 you paid is going to end up going into the money and now be worth 1,000. So from 100 to 1,000, and you could 10 times. Day trading intraday, but those are just that's a totally different type of strategy too. Um, Risky Seeds, what's up? Good morning. Sorry, I got hella behind again. MR Deep. I'll get to BBIG in 1 second. Seedless Green, what's up? Thank you. Appreciate it. Says smoothie on me. Right on. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I'll have to stop and get one today too. All right, there we go. I just caught up in the chat. MR Deep. I saw your I saw the first comment, man. Sorry. I was just trying to catch up. Looks like you sent about 7 of those. Let's see here. So, what do we got here? BBIG starting to fall off. We did pull up the Vortex data on that earlier. I think I still have it up too, but I mean, cost to borrow is high, extremely high right now. Um, Short interest is decreasing, so it looks like, shares are getting returned. If we zoom out a little bit here, we did hit a high at 1250 yesterday, bounced back down to 10, and it looks like we're dropping a little bit right now. I would really look for this thing to hold, kind of like I was talking about with CLOV yesterday. If we look at the options chain, losing 10 right now isn't necessarily going to be a great thing, because you're going to see some unwind there. And it's sitting right around max pain. If we look, max pain is going to be right in this 950 to 10 level. So I think let's pull up max pain and check it out. But ultimately, I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, man. Short interest is high. I would say that this thing has a lot of room for growth. They're continuing to expand the options chain, and every time they do, like they added on the 20 through the 24 today, everything else is continuing to be loaded up, and that just adds in more leverage for retail, right? So that as more shorts continue to cover because the cost to borrow is high, it's going to propel you up even higher. You get past 10, you get past 11, and it just keeps moving up from there. I mean, it's sitting in a great spot. Max pain is 9 for BBIG right now, so it looks like that's where they're going to try to pin it to, at least for this month, for this week's options. Noar, what's up? How are you? Detective John Kimball. Is that from Kindergarten Cop? Or I know that's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, but I don't know what movie it is. Or am I totally off base? I'm tired right now. Detective John Kimball. That's gonna drive me crazy right now. Trying to figure out what that is. Oh man. Yeah, it was from Kindergarten Cop. I had to look that up just to make sure. Oh man. Faith says any recommendation on an entry point for VIH. I mean, if we back out and kind of look, it keeps kind of like, hitting down here at 10, popping up. It wants to go. It really does. Um, I think now that it's above 10, it'll probably stay somewhere up here. It was trading below for a while. We saw this pop up to 1240 the other day. Um, I think, as close to $10 as possible, which right now we're trading at 1036. I mean, it was at almost 11 yesterday. Um, I think, especially if you're going like shares, the closer you can get, the better. We're at 1053 right now. Um, especially if you're willing to hold and you're not looking for like the short term, give it to me by tomorrow type of deal. But I mean, this stock is going to be worth at least $10 on its own. So getting in at 1050, there's not a lot of downside there. William, what's up? G Surin, no, gave me plus 1 point. I like it. It's not a Tuma. Yeah, that movie was funny. I remember that one. Pat M, the Kindergarten Cop soundboard. I remember that. That's old school. Um, Buddha says looks like it wants to go. Um, Absolutely. We are starting to move up. Volume right now, 680,000. Not what we saw yesterday, but still pretty high in relation to CLOV. Um, I pinned this comment a second ago. Um, L Train said props to the Jen for following up on SSR with NASDAQ yesterday. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys saw his tweets, but he was like, like what the hell, Charles Schwab isn't showing that this thing's on SSR because SSR is supposed to trigger the moment you go down by 10%. So, he's getting fired up. Why isn't it on Schwab? He calls Schwab, stays on hold with them, trying to see what's going on. And eventually, gets through to Schwab, talks to them, ends up calling NASDAQ to find out, why we aren't on the short sale intraday on the SSR list. I mean, dude was putting in work yesterday. So, and then he actually posted some information in the Discord. I noticed. Let me pull that up if anyone's interested. So on the Discord, which there is a link down below, let me see here. The Stonk Lounge. There is this questions and answers section, and he put the PDF in there. If anyone's interested in looking, so right down here, there's this Nasdaq fact, and I'll go ahead and pull that up if I can. Frequently asked questions for limit up, limit down for when a stock's on SSR. And I mean, great stuff in there. And it's posted on the Discord under questions and answers. And anyone who's interested, the Discord is the link is down in the description. It's for the Stonk Lounge, and we're just starting to get it going. Ago's done great work helping us get the thing set up. And my thought process on that is it's not necessarily a Coach B stocks Discord. This is a Discord for everybody. I made a little channel in there for, the coaches huddle that eventually maybe I'll kind of put out my picks on and stuff like that. But other than that, I want it to be open to all traders, just somewhere where we can all go in there and discuss plays and picks and, um, talk about our maybe we even add something in there for if anyone else who likes to bet on NFL or any sports. We could put a little sports gaming room too. That'd be fun. Put some parlay picks and things of that nature. um Kamal says, any idea who is lending shares? Anybody. I mean, you could lend shares if you want. Like it's really any shareholder. So it could be big institutions. A lot of time, big institutions that are in a stock for the long haul. If they're planning on holding this thing for 5 to 10 years, and it's just a very very small percentage of their portfolio. You know, it might be less than 1% of their portfolio. They're not looking at the day to day volatility. So hell yeah, they'll lend their shares out and make that extra cash, especially when all of a sudden they notice that the borrow rate is 100%. Why wouldn't you at that point, right? Um, and but it could also be retail. Retail, if you get into a lending program with your with whoever your broker is, you could lend out shares as well. I'm not saying go do it because it doesn't really help us. But the abilities there is what I'm getting at. So anybody has the potential and ability to lend out their shares, and that's why there's so many different broker lenders out there. TD Ameritrade lends out shares, Schwab lends out shares, Robinhood, Fidelity, they all lend out shares. Those brokers are lending out their own customers' shares. But again, now if some of your customers are requesting their shares back, switching over to from cash to or from margin to cash, and now those shares are becoming unavailable. Now you have broker lenders that need those shares back, and that could be when you see cost to borrow increase as well. Speedo, what's up? Good morning. Solana crypto has run hard since we first talked about it on Spaces. Yeah, I'll take the time again to really point that out because I see we got quite a few people in here now. Every day after market close, Jen has been doing these Twitter Spaces. We just started last week. I'm usually at work, so if anything, I'm just listening. But a lot of intelligent people on there talking stocks and calling out future plays, watch lists, just talking about the markets in general. Really interesting stuff. Go follow him on Twitter. I put a link to his Twitter account below, and it's been, I've only caught two of them just because, like I said, I'm always at work, but it's I was really impressed, and I think as that thing grows, it's going to be pretty awesome. And I know they've called out some nice runners on there too already, so definitely worth a look. Go check it out today. And all you got to do is co-creator. I remember that line from the movie. I just saw it, and I'm dying laughing. You guys are all got the kindergarten cop stuff coming out. Let's see. But yeah, that Twitter Spaces is dope. Definitely worth checking out. So if you subscribe to Degenerate and you're following him, when he goes live with it, you'll see it at the top of on your mobile. You'll see it at the top. It'll be a little blue circle with everybody, and it's kind of flashing, and you just click into it. For those of you guys that are like Twitter illiterate like me. Oh, Noar's dropping knowledge right now. Kindergarten Cop, Goonie, Short Circuit. I still haven't shown the kids Short Circuit. Someone else brought up Johnny Five on here one day, and I was saying that I want to show that one to the kids. Now I didn't know that those were all filmed in Astoria. I knew Goonies was, and I just recently figured out that Astoria is a real place. I saw I don't, you know how your computers are listening in on you. It seems like I was talking about Goonies in my classroom to my students one day because I have a movie poster of Goonies in my classroom, and we were just talking about Goonies, and the next day on my YouTube pops up some dude that actually like went through Astoria, went to all the filming locations. It was a pretty cool YouTube channel that dude had too. And anyways, yeah, I didn't realize Astoria was like actually a real place. MMGA, good morning. What's up? Brian Rayborn, you bet the ponies. Absolutely. I love going to the horse track. I got a good friend whose dad is actually a trainer, and so we've been there I haven't been in a long time though, but usually if I go to the casino, if I go to Reno, we'll kind of hang out in the sports book, gamble a little bit, and then I'll always bet on some horses and stuff. And I love to get out to the track, but it's been a couple years now. Hold on, my wife's texting me. Let's see. Another story too from Brian before I catch up. So before when all the sports shut down, and I don't even gamble that much. I really don't. Especially like in the last year or so. I think I bet on the Super Bowl and the national championship, and that was it. But when all sports and everything shut down for COVID, in March of 2019, right? 19. Anyways, horse racing was still happening. So like I found this thing where there was like this app, and they stream every horse race that you could think of from every track, and you can actually put bets in there and all this stuff. And so we hooked them up on like 3 or 4 different TVs, and a couple buddies came over, and we turned my living room into a sports book, and we were sitting there betting on horses and watching horse races from all around the country, really just to have fun because there was nothing else to do. But yeah, I love betting horses. Hector, what's up? Cryptocello, gonna try to catch up to you guys right now. What would set off the circuit breaker on the way up? 10% move. So moving 10% in 1 minute is what either up or down would usually set off the circuit breaker. Although I was listening to Al Trades the other day, and I think he said that back in June we moved more than 10% in a day. Or in up or down in 1 minute back in June, and there was no circuit breaker, which, I mean, I didn't go back and verify, but I trust what he's saying. But usually, anytime you get more than 10% in 1 minute. Jim Luong, what's up? Says, let's go. Dave, what's up? Dave says, shorts are out of ammo. We're getting a little bit of pullback. We did come up and hit. Let me go 1 minute candle just because we're getting some action right now. Yeah, so we had this nice little increase, got up to 986. Looking at sell walls right now, and it doesn't seem like there's anything significant, nothing to be too concerned about. Again, $10 is kind of the big one, almost 80,000 shares there now. That seems to be like the big sell wall that we're going to run into at some point. And we did get up as high as 987 a second ago. Oh, you get. Let's see here. Clover Avenue says the new Matrix trailer is out. I'm gonna have to check that out once we jump off. Oh, Ecom, you're a genius. All right, so first I got to get the class. I guess I could start a club, but yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it. I'm on it. If I can get a trading class, but even just to start a club, I don't know if they'd fork out $2,000 a month though for that Bloomberg subscription. But I'll tell you what, like I know I said this recently, like if I'm ever fortunate enough to be making that kind of money on this channel, first thing I'm going to do is buy a Bloomberg. But even outside of that, I don't really expect this channel to turn into, any sort of career or anything like that. I'm doing it because I'm having fun. But just with my own trading, like, let's say the next big run up we have, like CLOV, for instance, and as I take profits, I mean, when you really put it into perspective, it's 24,000 a year. That's a lot, but not when you start to look at like how much you could make off these big run ups and stuff, and having access to that information. So after I hit the next big run up, whether it be in CLOV, I don't have enough in VIH to make that kind of commitment, but whether CLOV or GameStop are my two big positions. If we get another big, like, run to 25 or 40 in CLOV or 350 in GameStop, I might be able to shave 24,000 off and just buy the Bloomberg for the year. But then I got to get a PC, I heard. I don't know. Akosi, what's up? RH, Darth Snarf, Midwest Tom, John G. A lot of people in here today. Thomas O'Connell. All right, there we go. There we go. I just caught up with you guys. Sorry if I skipped anything. All right, so it's 6:40 right now. Looks like BBIG going green again, still starting to move. Let's see here. My CLOV position right now. I'm just checking out. I haven't even glanced at my portfolio today just to see what's going on. A lot of red due to GameStop. CLOV is coming back down to that 950 level after that run up. If we can hold some sort of support there and turn back around, we really need to hold that though. Like I had said yesterday, that we didn't want to fall below 1050 because we'll kind of see that reversed effect of the gamma squeeze. 950, I think we really got to hold. Otherwise, we're going to see a little bit more unwinding, although there's not a huge difference there, differential wise. But I think we got to hold 950 and then continue to push up, and then every strike price could potentially move us higher, kind of like we're seeing with BIG right now. VIH, not much going on there. Let's see. Is it weak to buy deep in the money making? Is it weak to buy deep in the money? I don't understand what you're saying there. Money making. Are you talking like kind of like I was saying right now, like the kind of if you wanted to go, I think what you're saying is buy like deep in the money options or something like that. I wouldn't go like super deep because then it's not really working out, right? Like, so let's say you buy the $4 strike for $5.70. At that point, I would just buy the stock. I like to at least get double. Like so if the stock's going to cost me 100 shares or $9.50, I would go with at least, I guess maybe like somewhere like there, like the $5 strike, and you could buy two of them. Is it weak play to buy deep in the money for options? No, it's not weak. It's actually safer. It's much safer, especially if you're expecting a bounce back. So let's look at like the grand scheme of things. Let's say you think this is the bottom right here at 943, right? 945. So if I went right here and bought two of these $5 strikes, right, at 455, it's basically I'm paying 6% in time premium, but now I'm getting the dollar for dollar movement of 200 shares as opposed to 100. So now as we run up, let's just say to 1050 and I get that dollar movement, I'm going to make, $1 times two, $200 on the way up, and then, but you also, there's an expiration on this, right? So this is more of like a trading strategy, I would say. Now, if you wanted to go like deeper out and you're talking about building a position, this is how I normally build my positions. When I'm just entering into a stock that I want to get into a long-term position on, this is how I started building my CLOV position too. You come out here and you look at these leaps, but again, I would rather go at the money so I can get double. So I would go with like two of these $10 strikes, but they don't expire for 500 days. And that way I can double up what I'm getting into, and instead of buying 100 shares, now I have the price action of two, and move, and then just start adding on to those and adding on to those as we continue to go up. And now eventually I end up, and I even on dips go in and just keep buying if like the $10 strike is what I'm targeting, and just continue to build up my position that way. Now, I have 500 days, and on the next big run, let's say even if we just go up to 15, I got all that price action out of those. Now I could sell some and use the money to exercise the others, or to just buy some shares straight out and keep those calls. So that's usually how I scale into positions, is by going with, for leaps, I try to go at the money. But if you're talking about trading and you think you're like timing a dip or something and you want to get in on something like that, I'll absolutely go deep in the money. Hope that answers your question. All right, co-creator, man. Love you, bro. Thanks for coming in. Thanks. Appreciate all the support, man. Thank you. Have a great day. I'll check in with you later too. Um, I'm actually gonna sign off here in a second too, in about 4 minutes. Just go see the kids off to school and go get ready myself. Um, Thank you everybody for coming on here. I might as well go through the list right now and let everybody know, because I know we're getting we're getting down here to the to where I'm going to be signing off. So first off, I put a ton of links in my video description of the video today, and I just want to throw out. So the first one is, I did open up the Stonk Lounge Discord. It's not my Discord; it's a Discord for everybody. Okay, and I'm going to make it available to even other content creators can have their own little section. Another trading group that I'm with, I'm going to try to set them up with a little thing to kind of like post their plays in there, and it's just kind of a cool place for the community to get together after hours, after the stream, before the stream, and talk stocks or whatever else we want to talk, right? So the Discord's open now. There's a link below. Absolutely go join the CLOV subreddit. Great information being posted there all the time if you're interested in CLOV, and that's why you're here. God, I'm drawing blank. I did the NFL Survivor Pool. We've been talking about it on here for a while. Monk, what's up? Plum Phone, what's up? So the Survivor Pool, the way it works, every week you pick an NFL team that you think is going to win. Once you pick a team, you can't pick them again. It's free. Go sign up for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be referencing it every week, and I'm going to give away some free merchandise to the winner and the runner-up. Kind of as a thank you for you guys to come supporting the community and everything. So, whether you're into football or not, go on there and pick a team. It's fun. Once you lose, you're out, although I am going to give everybody 2 opportunities. So if you lose once, I'll give you 1 more opportunity to stay in, kind of a do-over. So that should be fun. Degenerates Twitter is down there. Go follow him and join the Twitter Spaces after market close. A lot of great content on there. I also put a link in there for Tarheel Blue. There's a link in there for Ghost. Me and him have been doing the no financial limits. Definitely go follow Ghost. Me and him are starting this show every Monday night leading up to Monday Night Football, where we're going to talk stocks and at the same time talk a little bit of NFL, go over our picks, maybe get into some fantasy football and have a lot of fun, and bring some potentially bring on some guests, some current and former NFL players. So it should be a lot of fun. I think that, and then I think I hit everybody. Al Trades has been streaming as well. I think Blah Blah was in here earlier and said that Al Trades and Tarheel are going to be streaming the Wells Fargo conference later on today. So definitely something else to check out. And yeah, thank you everybody again. Hope to see you tomorrow morning. All right. That was a lot right there. It took us all the way almost to 6:50. Okay. Love you guys. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate the support.